It is my life.
Proudly sponsored by Brookies.
All right, so who's doing the intro?
We just did it.
Hey?
Welcome to MTV's Barbs.
And that's the
intro.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, welcome to another update. It's been a while. The last update we did was in Bundaberg.
Bundy.
Yikes! Really?
Yeah.
It was in Bundaberg. Yeah, we haven't done an update
whiz.
since then. And so we thought, why not? When in Rome, and three blokes in bathtubs. We just thought this might go viral.
Yeah.
What have we been up to? What have we been up to the last couple of weeks?
Well, after Bundy, we were in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Down to Brisbane. So we spent a few days there. Had a couple of days off. Couple of days in trade. Then we went down to Byron.
Yep.
With a stopover in the Sunshine Coast as well. So just living the life for the last week or so. Bit of trade work, bit of relaxing, bit of visiting the people at Brookies. Catching up with Eddie from Brookies. Walking us around his amazing property. Tasting his amazing spirits. And also hanging out with the guys at Stone and Wood, which was mind-blowing. So yeah, very lucky.
How good was the rainforest at Brookies?
Absolutely unbelievable.
So they've got this rainforest that the family, they've got a macadamia farm also, more importantly, as well, but they've been reforesting or rebuilding the forest over the last 20 or so years.
Yeah, so seeing the photos that Eddie put up, Eddie kind of showed us that he had laminated, it was barren.
There's nothing there.
It was barren as anything, but by the time, we were there, it was lush. It looked like it was a national park. It was insane.
But, and it's like, I don't know, there's something about Byron just in general, isn't there? Like, there's nothing really like it in Australia.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Just got a balance between business, like doing business in a really, really good way.
Yeah. And it's kind of like the Malibu of Australia. That's what it reminded me of. Malibu.
What's Malibu like? I've never been.
Malibu, it's a big surfer town, and it's a bit of a holiday town, but it is kind of where all the rich mega stars go to have their summer houses.
And of course, we saw one.
Yeah.
We saw would you call him an A-lister?
Or, well, look, the fact that we could play a game and put him in different films after that.
Yeah, exactly. We saw Michael Shannon.
Shannon.
From films like Kangaroo Jack.
Was he in Kangaroo Jack?
I'm pretty sure he's in Kangaroo Jack. I might be remembering that.
He was in the film Let's Go to Prison. He played a neo-Nazi. And in a funny way. Let's Go to Prison is a comedy.
It's a comedy.
It's a comedy with Dax Shepard and Will Arnett.
Oh, great. That's good.
And
That's
it's
a good
hilarious.
It's a good
And
Michael Shannon
is in it. He's also in that film with Joel Edgerton where he brings a present to his house.
No idea.
Clearly, he's an A-lister.
He's an Oscar-nominated actor.
But we got to see him in Byron.
Yeah, we saw him in Byron.
Yeah.
Great.
But also, I guess, the other really cool things that we've done in the last couple of weeks, which has been a huge part of the trip outside of the Atherton Tablelands, is visiting a lot of native ingredient farmers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's been insane. That's been really eye-opening.
And also meeting people who are really into cooking with those natives in a really creative way that actually highlights the flavors in a balanced way as well.
It doesn't overtake them, doesn't make a statement or anything.
And they were presented in a way that were, approachable for home cooks as well. It wasn't like fine dining pretense. It was like, you can do this really easily.
Mm.
Yeah, made it really approachable. Like lemon myrtle hollandaise. Who knew? It's delicious.
Lemon myrtle custard tart.
Delicious.
Mind-bending.
Incredible.
What was your sort of biggest takeaways from the native ingredients? What were the things that maybe you didn't realise beforehand, or that you just kind of blew your mind a little bit?
The ease in which it takes to grow it, but the difficulty that it takes to sell.
Yeah.
All of the farmers were like, it's pretty kind of easy. This fruit does it itself. It's so adaptive to their environment because they're planting the right things in the right place. They can afford to be a little bit lazy with the management, and it's great because it actually does wonders for the biodiversity of where they're actually planted.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're still, kind of fighting an uphill battle and trying to sell it and trying to get people aware of these ingredients. So that was the main takeaway for me.
Yeah. The thing for me, and I'm trying not to be disheartened by it, because I know that we've got all of the young people in place to do it, and I think meeting with Eddie from up north was really inspiring, because he was a young guy who is, looking to plant orchards, to commercialize, these things. But a lot of these people who we've interviewed and who we were lucky enough to, and who were kind enough to sit down with us, are tired. They're tired of pushing that uphill battle. And I'm really excited to see young people get involved with it, and young people see how viable it is, and how easy it is to do. Like, all of the bones are there for this to be a great industry.
It's actually interesting you say that. Like, there's a lot of people I know that would love the idea of buying a property out, in an agricultural region. I think COVID has put a massive sort of focus now for where young people want to live.
Yeah, I mean, we were in the Atherton Tablelands, and since COVID, house prices have gone up 30%.
Yeah. So people are going out there, but once you get out there, what do you do? There's no jobs out there. So growing stuff, the concept of potentially at the extreme end going off grid. At the non-extreme end, it's let's get a little bit of income from farming. But let's face it, farming's a tough gig. It's really hard. It doesn't make a lot of money. So the only way that I guess you can get it to work is okay, grow something amazing, be really good at it, create a premium brand out of it, like Black Angus beef or something like that. Or with native ingredients, you're lowering your cost centers, because it doesn't cost a lot to put in the ground. It doesn't cost a lot to grow them. The maintenance of it is pretty much nothing.
Water cost
nothing once you've established them. Look, okay, there's probably some improvements to be made, I think, in the harvesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Of it, the harvesting of Davidson plums. The best part of harvesting Davidson plums is you just let them fall on the ground.
Yeah, all you need to do to harvest like if you have a massive orchard, let's say, Davidson plum trees, all you need to do and all you need to have is just a big enough net. That's it. You don't need to have a million pickers walking around picking things off trees. You just need to have a big enough net that will catch everything. And the cool thing about Davidson plums is that they grow on hillsides, on 20% incline. They'll still grow. And that's actually even better, because then if you put a net on that, all you need to do is walk along the bottom of the hill and just pick up your Davos.
Interesting, because a lot of agricultural land, they try to grab the flattest, and if they don't have it, they try and clear it so it is.
Yeah.
Whereas this stuff, you don't need to. You can find what would be non-ideal agricultural land, shove it in the ground, and just set it up so you can collect them all at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it self-feeds the humus layer, that sort of like layer of organic matter that all plant life really needs, because it leaves so much leaf litter. So you don't need to worry about weeds. It's just odd, and I think, Noah, you nailed it. It's a marketing problem.
Yeah.
We have a marketing problem. People need to get into Davidson plums even more so, but there needs to be, I guess, an industrial side of it.
Yeah, well, it's also the stuff that, this is what people, like, fruits like Davidson plums, lemon myrtle, stuff like that, they're relatively established. Now we're getting, I think more and more we're seeing those particular ingredients be more apparent in the market, and people are understanding what they are. Like, we're currently drinking Davidson plum gin right now, and it's fantastic.
From Brookies.
Brookies, delicious.
Thanks,
lemon
Eddie.
myrtle is one of the most widely used native ingredients around. But there's so much potential for other stuff like Burdekin plums or native tamarind. That
Illawarra plum as well.
Illawarra plum, all
delicious.
Rose apple, we saw.
Rose apple. There's heaps of these amazing ingredients that are popping up that we've only really discovered in the last 2 weeks that have so much potential in this industry to replace, European introduced species quite easily.
And even then, the ones that we've known about beforehand.
Yeah.
There's still work to be done. Day before yesterday, we were in Roma. So we went inland from Byron Bay up to Roma, and we met with Jock out there from, I think it's Australian Desert Limes.
Yeah.
And Desert Limes, of course, if you know anything about us and what we do with Applewood, Desert Limes is probably the core ingredient. And we got to go out and see them in the wild, and he is still doing selections from the wild to improve, I guess, the stock, improve the breed I guess the rootstock that is being sent out to all the commercial farmers.
Yeah.
There's still so much work to be done. We're talking about the difference between, you won't be able to see it probably this far away, but the difference between a desert lime being the size of your thumbnail to being the size of a small lime.
It's the difference between a 5-cent coin and a 50-cent coin.
That's huge.
It's insane.
Right?
It's quite remarkable.
It's literally 10 times the difference. And I think that's one of the main things that is kind of missing from the native foods industry. There isn't a universal standard for what quality is.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably one of the most troublesome things about the industry itself, because it feels like everyone knows about it, like it's been there forever. Every single farmer and agriculturalist that we've talked to has been like, oh yeah, we're aware of it. Like that, it's great. It's really cool. AgriFutures has done a lot of research on it. There's been government insight into it. People have done surveys on these things, but no one, and that was one thing which really struck me, is like, we can sit people down. We can sit a whole bunch of wheat farmers down, and they can all universally agree what high quality wheat looks like.
Yes.
But I don't think you'd be able to put a whole bunch of native farmers. Well, in fact, I think probably the only people you could put in a room together are native farmers who could agree on what a good quality Davidson plum looks like.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the real hard slog, long form work that needs to take place in the industry, because we all need to universally agree, what does good quality lemon myrtle look like?
Do you think the push should come from farmers, or do you reckon it should come from the value adding trade?
It should come from the value adding trade.
It will
Because
come.
we
and it's the only way it's going to happen if it comes from value added trade. That's the only way it's going.
So we can say back and say, this is what we're looking for, and we'll pay more for X, Y, Z. But at the moment, it's so juvenile. Like, we will pay more just to get more.
Yeah, it's like right now it's a
supply.
It's a supply problem, not a quality supply problem.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing that needs to change. I think we as a value-adding industry need to say, and like this is across, multiple producers as well, not just us, but we as the value-adders need to say, well, this is what we're looking for, and be specific about it, and be at least ballsy enough to be specific about it. Unfortunately, the cosmetic industry and a lot of those ancillary industries that are not food grade, they're looking for the essence of it, so they actually really don't care about the quality of it per se.
They just want volume.
They just need the flavour. Mate, go for it. Send it.
Top-ups.
Please.
Top-ups.
Yes.
Poolside Service.
Oh, this is. So where are we now? Just to give reference to everyone, where actually are we?
I just want you to know I'm in a bathtub in Longreach. And it's fabulous.
This is an amazing place, Saltbush Retreat, and they have this setup out here, the Outback Bath Experience.
Yeah.
I think this is what it's
Truly an experience, that's for damn sure.
And I think every place in rural Australia needs one of these.
And we're staying in what used to be stable houses, and it's delightful.
It's actually really good.
It's luxury.
It's not.
Like in the most humble way possible, of course. But it's fantastic. Like, these guys have done a sensational job. It's
really
awesome. Great. And it got up to 38 degrees today.
Just a cheeky little
Just
38.
a balmy mid-November day.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's hot.
It's currently like 36 degrees right now.
Yeah,
That's why we're in
There's a
an
bit of
all
humidity
cold
too.
water bath.
It's not a crazy amount of like heat reference to what Longreach probably gets to.
Yeah.
But it is humid. There's definitely humidity here. I think there was a storm meant to be rolling in, but it looks like it's cleared up.
It's gonna skip Longreach, but it's going over the side, which is great.
Would have been nice to see a desert storm roll in a bathtub.
We did see a crazy one in Noosa.
Yeah, well,
that was
crazy
mega.
one in Adelaide as well happened.
Yeah, we missed it.
Did it knock out our power again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's guaranteed. If there's a storm in South Australia, it'll kill some kind of power.
Maybe we should think about fixing that one, South Australia. Maybe we should think about getting some more of those good old solar panels up. A few more batteries.
A few more batteries.
Yeah.
Since we've started to be 100% powered by solar, maybe let's reinvest the infrastructure.
That happened first time in was it a major city globally?
I think it's in the world.
It's
the first time a major city in the world has been 100% powered by solar energy.
Not only a major city, it was a major jurisdiction. It was the whole state that was powered by renewable.
Yeah.
It was all of South Australia that was powered by
And it was
renewable.
I'm not sure if it was for like 10 minutes or an hour.
It's for the whole day.
But like kudos, man.
Yeah.
It's one step. One step.
Absolute kudos.
One day at a time.
one small step for energy, one giant leap
For the
for
sun.
mankind.
For the sun and Elon Musk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are we doing here in Longreach? We tried to go to the Stockman's Hall of Fame. That was going to.
It's under construction.
It is under construction. Is being renovated at the moment, which is very unfortunate because I've been there before, and it's an incredible source of inspiration. Of course, these guys hadn't been, so it was quite upsetting that we couldn't go. Of course, they've got the Qantas Founders Museum up here, which is always worth a try to if you're into aviation and all that sort of jazz. But onwards from here, as of tomorrow.
So we're on the home stretch. We've got a week left. We were supposed to have a couple of weeks left, but unfortunately, our fiasco in Kansas rendered the last week of the trip null and void. We are off to Winton tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're going to the Banjo Patterson.
Banjo Patterson, I guess it's like a centre.
Yeah.
Or a museum of sorts.
Yeah,
It's a celebration.
yeah. I mean, it's the place that he wrote Waltzing Matilda is all around this area up in Winton, including the pub where it was first performed as well.
We should update from there.
Yes, the North Gregory Hotel, the place that allegedly the Waltzing Matilda was first, I guess.
publicly performed. I'm sure that Banjo Patterson had some, sounding boards that he read to. I'm sure it wasn't the very first performance, but
Do you reckon he wrote it and then that was it, or do you reckon he wrote it, performed it, and it was like, nah, I gotta
I need to punch
tweak
this
this one?
I need to workshop this. I need to punch it up.
Yeah.
I mean, probably, as with all great artists. Or maybe he was just like one of those dudes who had a stream of consciousness, but just went for it. And that
Maybe
was
he's
it.
just gone, nah, nailed that one.
I really
Got it. Done.
can't tell you as to the character of the songwriting style of Banjo Patterson.
Maybe he wrote it in a dream like bloody yesterday by the Beatles.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, this is the thing. Bush poetry is a thing, right?
Very, very much.
It's obviously this, and you guys have seen, we've all seen in the last 4 weeks. Quite a lot of Australia. Do you feel somewhat connected to that? Do you feel somewhat inspired by the same sort of stuff that inspired them to be so artistic?
Yes, but not in the same way.
Not in the same way. I think what they were inspired by was capturing this land that not many people have articulated to the people. There's been great documentation of stories from indigenous cultures that go for thousands of years. But as far as colonization aspect, sharing the stories of Australia and the landscape and the beauty of it to the wider world, that's kind of what they were doing. Now we're looking at modern day. We've got a pretty good grasp as worldwide of what Australia generally looks like, but now it's showcasing the nitty gritty and the stuff that isn't as greatly communicated, which is alongside the native ingredients in places like the Atherton tablelands or Devil's Marbles and stuff like that don't get this worldwide recognition.
Yeah, it's interesting, the meeting Jock in Roma, one of the originators of Landcare, just as an organisation, which is pretty freaking
He was
cool.
one of the original dudes.
Amazing.
Growing up on the land, he was a true romantic, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Did his own poetry.
Study of early explorers like Mitchell and
Leichhardt.
Like that. But then there was Warwick and Warwick's sister, who was a native grower. She'd written some poetry as well. We continue to write poetry. But look, I think it's something that exists in kind of this strange duality that exists out here, right? Because unfortunately, due to the vast expanse that we exist in, a lot of the people out here do have to engage in, hard labour a lot of the time. And it's not necessarily out of specific choice, but often out of necessity, because that's what has to be done to literally maintain this area. There's a huge amount of maintenance that goes on before we even get to talking about expansion of these regional areas. And there's also a large amount of struggle in that. And if you don't have an outlet, you're going to probably write poetry and songs and and share that with people. I think there's a large artistic heart all throughout the centre of this country that I think is often overlooked because I think sometimes, you know, the fringe can be a bit pretentious. I think that's I don't know. Look, I think I say that because that was my opinion before I came here. And I'm pretentious as shit. It's true. It's like, you know, I thought it was simple, but it's not. It's anything but. It's like it's the same realization I made when we were in the center of the desert, and I was like, there's nothing out here. No, there's tons. There's a lot. The center of this country is full. You just don't know where to go.
You can't capture it in a photograph or any video. You have to really be there to experience it.
Yeah.
It's quite remarkable.
Yeah.
We're going to be learning a lot about poetry in the next 24 to 48 hours. We're also going to be jumping up to McKinley to go to a pub.
Oh, we're going to that one. Oh, true.
We're going to go up to the Walkabout Creek.
Walkabout Creek Hotel.
Yes,
Here it is.
Kangaroo Jack.
And
It's also from...
Kangaroo Jack's my joke of the day.
I didn't get that.
I thought it was in Kangaroo Jack.
Fuck, it might be.
It probably is.
I think it's in Red Dog too.
In probably
Probably
is.
in Red
one
Dog.
of the most iconic pubs of the Outback, and we're going to be doing hopefully a bit of filming there. You know, sit down, say good day, have a beer.
Yeah.
And then from there, we're going to be heading up to Townsville for a few days before you fly out rather than drive back. Unfortunately, our car's not going to be fixed till the end of this month, so I'm sure there'll be more updates to come from there. But the next couple of hours, I think it's going to be poetry, beer, Outback, heat, beer, sun,
Beer.
and until then, if you've watched it this far, do us a favour. If you're into poetry, let us know what poets you're into. You might have a bit of a read.
Yeah, please.
If you're into bush poetry, let us know that. Just any poetry. I'm curious to know if there's like modern day poets, like what's happening in the world of poetry. Is it all just turned to rap?
No, there are definitely modern day Australian poets. Some of my favourite work was actually, I cannot remember the name of the poet. I do believe it's herself. And she wrote a lot about Australian immigration. It's more stories turning towards the immigration story rather than the story of the bush.
Well, guys, if you've watched it this far, let us know your favourite poets. I want to know. I'm curious. I'm just curious. Let us know. So it gives me something to read on the road. Anyway, catch ya.
Bye from the tub.
Check out that. It's what we call the country rig.